Just two wheels and a pair of pedals can get you anywhere you want to go, especially in Santa Barbara.
It's healthy, and I just enjoy it.
Santa Barbara is probably one of the best places to ride in the country, if not the world. There's a very active bicycle community here, which advocates for facilities for bikes. So we have things like the bike station. We have a lot of dedicated bike lanes, and we have a network of bike routes that you can go pretty much anywhere, Santa Barbara, Goleta, Carpinteria.
When it comes to making Santa Barbara a more bikeable community, the wheels are always turning for the city.
We have this bicycle master plan that's approved by the state. And the intention of the bicycle master plan is to make it easier for people to decide to ride, to improve the bicycle facilities we have and create projects to make it easier to ride. And then finally, our third goal is to make it easier at the destination for bicyclists to put in bicycle parking facilities, those types of things. We'd like to make bicycling as convenient as other modes of travel.
If you wanted to pick one of the least convenient and equal conditions in the city, the intersection of Mission and 101 would top the list. That's why the city has begun a project that adds a bike lane and makes other pedestrian improvements on Mission Street.
We're always looking for ways to improve the way our community can get from one side of the 101 to the other side of the 101, because it does kind of function like a river running through our community. There are only a handful of places where pedestrians and bicyclists and motorists can get from one side of Santa Barbara to the other side. So at Mission Street, we created a project to improve bicycling by putting in bike lanes from Modoc to Castillo Street. We're also putting in access ramps so that people using wheelchairs or strollers can easily get from one side of the 101 to the other.
Another example of a bicycle improvement is on Upper Chapala. Last year, the city reduced this part of Chapala Street from 2 driving lanes to 1 and added a bike lane. The idea for the project came from the residents of that popular street.
We started thinking about the redesign of Upper Chapala about 15 years ago. In 1998, we formalized that with a petition of neighbors asking the city to remove a vehicle lane and put a bicycle lane. And what justified that was the amount of the volume of traffic. There were, and there still are, about 5,000 cars a day. And when there were 2 lanes, they were racing each other, going at really quite phenomenal speeds sometimes, something like 40 miles per hour. Compare the traffic counts with Bath and Castillo downtown that also have 1 lane, 1 traffic lane and 1 bicycle lane. And we argue that if they could do it, we could do too.
Not only does the new lane make biking easier, but there are bigger benefits for the community as a whole.
The big benefit is for people who drive their cars and for people who live around here. It is safer to cross the street, it is safer to go see your neighbor, it is a nice street. Everybody's ecstatic. I wouldn't say happy, I would say ecstatic with the results.
To celebrate and encourage all things biking in Santa Barbara, the city supports Bike to Work Week and Bike to Work Day. By the way, this type of alternative transportation could save the average American commuter 400 gallons of gas per year, so it's definitely worth giving a try.
The reason that we expanded Bike to Work Day to Bike Week is that we recognize that bicycling isn't suitable for every commuter in Santa Barbara. So we looked to increasing the number of options to educate our community through multiple workshops and presentations that we're offering this week in cooperation with the Santa Barbara Bicycle Coalition. We also thought that people, although they might not be able to consider riding their bike to work, they might consider riding their bike to the market, they might consider riding their bicycle to school, dropping off their kids at school by bicycle, even going to parks, or maybe even places of worship.
Here at Bike to Work Day, 2 blocks of State Street have been shut down so that all the bikers in the community can enjoy free food, music, prizes, and just celebrate the power of the pedal.
Bike to Work Day is a great event for people who regularly ride their bikes and enjoy other cyclists and get to meet other cyclists. It gives an opportunity for people that have never ridden their bikes to maybe just give it a try for one day and see what it's like.
One of the unique nonprofits in Santa Barbara is BC Centro. It's a low to no cost program where anyone can learn to properly build and ride bikes. Sponsored by the Santa Barbara Bicycle Coalition and partnered with La Casa de la Raza and the Fund for Santa Barbara, it's run by a group of volunteers that give instruction, advice, and inspiration.
BC Centro is a bike collective. We help people work on bikes. We take bike donations and we recycle bikes. We strip down bikes for parts that are used to help people repair their bikes when something breaks. We're about making biking affordable for those folks who depend on it and don't have a lot of extra money.
BC Centro celebrated in April with a new space and a special program for Santa Barbara's youth.
Those students come in, and as an after-school program, they get to choose a bike, build it up over 8 weeks. They do a road skills class so they can bike in the street safely, and they get a helmet, lights, and a lock, and a bike that they built themselves.
I don't have the hugest income, and I could, of course, go to a store and be like, here, I have this problem, and they'll deal with it directly. Thing is, I'm not going to learn anything that way, and I'm going to be spending money.
BC Centro also offers adult classes throughout the month that will further introduce you to your new best friend. Bikers in the community find it's not only a great way to get to work, but it's a whole new way of life.
Biking is good exercise. It's fun, saves gas.
When I get off the bike, I'm always in a better mood than when I started. It's a great way to maintain mental sanity.
Bikes are affordable, human-scale transportation. A bike is actually the most efficient vehicle ever devised.
Santa Barbara is an amazing community, and it's small enough to where you can bike anywhere in minutes. And you're going to spend a lot less time bicycling somewhere than driving a car and trying to find a parking spot and then paying for parking.
And taking in the sights and the sounds of the city and the people versus sitting in my car waiting at a traffic light or listening to traffic reports. It's just a great way to get to work, and I'm so thankful to live in such a great community.
To find out more on biking in Santa Barbara, log on to our website, citytv18.com. Well, coming up next, we take you to the Santa Barbara Harbor. Although picturesque, that sometimes isn't the case below the surface. Why? Well, in our next story, we get to the bottom of it.